Okay, welcome everybody to this tutorial. This tutorial is on making sure that in Canvas all of our assignment details are set up in such a way to trigger the sync with our student information system, also known as Q. So today we're going to be taking a look at, we're going to go into my sandbox course. You want to open up a course if you have some concerns about the course syncing with Q. Go into the course, and there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. We're going to first go into modules. A lot of people are working from the module perspective, and that's great. So here I've got a demo unit in my sandbox course, and one of the things to check to make sure that your assignments are going to sync, they need to have a title, which of course all assignments, and when I say assignments, discussions, graded discussions, quizzes, tests, assignments, they need to have a title. They need to have a date assigned. That's what triggers the actual sync to occur. They need to have points, and they need to have a little checkbox, the sync with SIS checkbox. And so I'm going to show you some different ways to verify that. So if you're in module view, right now if we're taking a look at responding to the text here, critical questions number 1 assignment, you can see it's got a date and it's got points. So that's a good sign. It's got a title, the date, and points. So the only thing we need to really check is to make sure that it has the sync with SIS box checked. So one way to get to that is by clicking the assignment, going into using the edit button with the little pencil icon, clicking edit, and then, of course, scrolling down, you should see assignment details. And we can see the points here. And we can see in this case that this assignment has been, the little checkbox sync to SIS has been checked, which would include this when the sync occurs. The sync is triggered by this date. So on May 18th, 11:59, once that hits, it'll go into the queue, the waiting line. It'll go into the list to be synced of assignments to queue, and that should happen overnight and be available in queue on the 19th. And remember, when assignments do get synced in queue, they show up in queue as ungraded. So you do need to go in and manually check it out, make sure it's good, and then you flip the little button at the top of spreadsheet view from red to green, and that would then make the assignment graded. Okay, so there are a couple of other ways to take a look at assignments. Let's look at an assignment that won't sync. So let's look at a kind of a non-example here. So let's go into modules. So let's go ahead and go into the assignment, Unit 1 lab questions, click the edit button, and let's fix this guy. So we need to go in here. It's got the title, it's got points, it has looks like in this case, both the sync to SIS has not been checked and there is no due date. So both of those things need to be corrected in order for, and then we got to click the save button. And this is important. A lot of people have dates that have been dropped. If you change the date, but by clicking the calendar icon and or by manually entering the date, and you don't click the save button, those dates do not change, or excuse me, they don't save, and so they drop out. Let's click save here. Okay. So one other way that you can check quickly to see if assignments are synced, assignments and quizzes, is that you'll notice that in your course menu, you have an assignments list and a quizzes list. Now these are just unstructured lists of all the assignments and unstructured lists of all your quizzes that are contained in this Canvas shell. So I'm going to click assignments. And I just wanted to show you this view. If we go down here, we can see, for instance, a couple other assignments that have problems. This little icon, most of the assignments have here, and if you hover over it, you'll see the floating text that says sync to SIS enabled, click to toggle. So you can actually click these toggles on and off if you want to sync them. It's the same exact thing as going in and checking that little sync to SIS box. So here for unit test, for instance, we can click and toggle that on, but notice it's got missing pieces of information here. We don't have dates, nor do we have points for either one of these assignments. So when you're looking through, you want to make sure this is Unit 1 Labs that we fixed is a perfect example. It's got a name, it's got points, it's got a date, and it is synced. So those are the settings that you'll want to double check. If you've got an assignment that's in Canvas but doesn't appear in Q at this point because the syncing appears to be working across the district, you'll want to go in and make sure that you have those set. I'm going to go ahead and fix the summary response essay and the unit test. To do that, I'm going to click inside the assignment. I'm going to choose my edit button. I'm going to assign it points because it has no points. I'm going to, oops, that's an essay, but probably be more than that. We're going to make sure that our SIS box is clicked, and we're going to set our due date as I'm going to need some time to create those essays, so we'll say May 18th. And again, it's important, lower right, hit that save button. Okay. So now when we come back to our assignments list, we can see that this summary response essay now has a title, a date, points, and it's been synced. Okay, so let's take just a moment to discuss some specifics about the syncing process. So syncing happens once a night, and it typically happens around between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. Depends on the number of new assignments and scores. So if there are a lot more assignments and scores to sync, the sync will typically start a bit earlier during that period. The sync is currently only looking at items in the last 7 days, so there's going to be an update and improvement that will go back and sync older assignments and scores. So that is a consideration if you've got things that haven't synced because they're outside that 7-day window. I guess we need to sit tight, and we will see that change here before too long. Additionally, a couple other considerations that you might consider. Canvas scores will overwrite Q scores, assuming that you have an assignment synced. So for instance, if you change a grade in Q, a score in Q, but you don't change it in Canvas, the score that's in Canvas will then go overwrite what is there in Q during the syncing process. And the same is true for assignment names. So if you change an assignment name in Q, the sync will create another assignment in Q because it doesn't see a match. So you need to be, I guess, thoughtful about making changes in Q. Typically, if you're going to use the sync feature, it's best to make the changes in Canvas and then let the sync take care of it in Q. Okay, so thanks so much for joining me with this tutorial on syncing assignments to Canvas. Reach out via email if you've got any questions, and thanks again for your time.